Minasan okarinasai. Today I will be covering the two biggest festivals of the year in Japan. Well, at least when it comes to us nerdy anime otakus and seiyuu lovers. I did cover Anisama before, but it was a rough video, and this time I'm also going to talk about Animax. So let's just dive right into it, starting with the smaller of the two, Animax Musics. This is an annual live concert in Japan, of course, every year since 2009. Over the years it has had itself some different variations as well, like Animax Music's Next Stage, Music's TV, and Animax Music's DJ Night, though its core title has always been Animax Musics. The concept of this event is to charm the world with anime music. 2011 to 2014 only had one event each year, but 2013 was a 2-day show. But from 2015 onwards, the festival has always been 2 events, one at the beginning of the year, anytime between January and March, then one at the end of the year, usually in November. It is always in Osaka for the winter show and Yokohama for the autumn show, except that one time in 2019 they had a 3rd event, 2 days in Kobe around Halloween. Outside of Japan, the Animax series has even taken place in Taiwan and China. Though both festivals I will talk about have similar things, this one focuses much more on covers rather than the performers doing their own music. I mean, they still do that, but it's definitely not as much. They always have special spotlights, mostly being covers and collaboration, but also little things like a girls only selection, fan selection, acoustic versions, and sometimes even having a secret guest. They also do selections like sports anime only, or like romance, shonen, light novel series. My personal favorite spot being the one titled a one night only unit with a different name, combining existing groups or singers and giving them a temporary new unit, like the Hasi Inarin duo. Absolutely love that. A few times they've even done a section where they only cover songs from a specific series, like SAO in 2017, having Minase sing the first opening, and man, that was so good. Funny enough, nowadays she's even part of the series. Talk about foreshadowing. And there was even a spotlight for the Fate series in 2018. Shoutouts to Lisa. Also that year, when Wake Up Girls were celebrating their final year, they had a whole part where they collabed with 3 different groups, one of which being Starlight Kukugumi. This is actually one of my favorite performances ever. 2019, however, was easily the best year. They had so many people that we all know and love, but I feel it might be unfair to crown this year as the best since it did have 4 shows as opposed to the usual 2. A cool thing that this fest does that I don't usually see at others is interviewing people. I'm sure there are other events that do this, but we just don't see it as much. The really cool thing is that they always find foreigners, usually English speakers, to give their thoughts on the event. I'll always remember this one American dude simping for Wake Up Girls while wearing a Guilty Kiss t-shirt. Shoutouts to that guy. And that's basically it for this one, not much else to say. I don't want to sit here and list off every cool moment, I'll probably save that for another video. But one more thing I'll mention is that as big as this festival is, the Love Live franchise has never been there. And even within the respective groups, it's only really been Nanjo, Momori, Takatsuki, Kito, and Kusunoki, with Liu having her debut there this year. Really hoping that one of the groups, or even a subunit, will pop up there sometime in the future. I actually think seeing a subunit there would be really cool. But anyway, time to move on to the big one. The Animello Summer Music Festival, aka Anisama, is the biggest annual anime song music festival in Japan. It started off in 2005 as a 1-day festival, but then starting in 2008 it was 2 days. And from 2013 onwards it has always been a 3-day festival that occurs usually in late August or early September. The only time they never had an event was in 2020, again for obvious reasons. The first event was held in Yoyogi Gymnasium, and in 2006 and 7 it was at the Budokan, but every year since 2008 it has been at the Saitama Super Arena, which apparently is the 2nd largest indoor arena in the world. The performers are singers and seiyuu that specialize in singing anime or game theme songs, or songs from the soundtrack of a franchise, also sometimes even singing tokusatsu music. Most of the examples I will give will be from the 2021 festival since it is my favorite and I want to show you the variety of content you'll get from just one festival alone, but I will talk about some stuff from other years as well. This is the perfect festival if you like many seiyuu or performers. If you're only into one franchise like say Love Live, then maybe this wouldn't be for you. But Love Live has made many appearances over the years, as the franchise and even as the seiyuu by themselves. The 2021 festival even had Aina Suzuki and Akari Kito back to back. Tomari Kusunoki was also there, but on a different day. And then Maika Koizumi was also here performing with her other group Starlight Kukugumi, while Miyu Kubota performed this year with her other group, Iris. While I'm talking about Iris, this festival isn't exclusive to already existing groups. The crossovers are amazing and I cannot stress that enough. For example, Iris performed with Mikiha, the lead singer of Spirit Spica, She sings the My Dress Up Darling opening, by the way. And they also had Miyu Takagi in character as Shinobu from D4DJ. The song they performed was a song that none of them sing on their own. Iris has also crossed over with other girls or groups over the years, like Azusa Tadokoro in 2016, and even opening one of the days that year with Aina Suzuki. The opening act of basically every year over the past 7 years has always been some sort of duet. Singular performers like Inori Minase and Mai Uchida in 2018, or Suzuko Momori and Ai Uchida that same year. But it can also be groups of people, like Muse and the OG Idolmaster girls in 2015, or something massive like all of the Kimono Friends, Iris and Sphere in 2019. It's arguably the most memorable part of each day. So I just mentioned some of the performers doing a cover of a song rather than their own, a very common occurrence. Back to the 2021 show, Sora Amamiya and Mai Uchida did a duet cover of Kimi no Se, the opening of Bunny Girl Senpai. The same year, Sora also did a cover of Onagai Muscle with Naoto Yama and special guest Airi Suzuki. Sora and Nao are both seiyuu in the Dumbbells anime, but they don't sing the opening. And Airi isn't a seiyuu at all, she's actually an Anisong singer and a TV personality. But for another example, having two girls not involved with the franchise at all would be when Ayaka Ohashi and Miyu Tomita sang an opening from Code Geass. These two I don't think have ever interacted before, despite both being Aikatsu girls, and if they have, it really isn't often. But this festival gave them the opportunity to perform together and sing a banger opening that I'm sure both of them were massive fans of prior to this. Now moving on to the next thing I'd like to talk about. These performers are not tied down to one single performance. Haruki Iwata, who you know I love very much, actually performed all 3 days during the 2021 fest. Day 1 with D4DJ, Day 2 with Starlight Kukugumi, who have been there every year since 2018 and somehow always perform on Day 2, weird coincidence. And Day 3 she was with Assault Lily. By extension, that means we saw a double dose of Hinata Sato and Waika Koizumi as well. Bless. Risa Sumagi, however, is in Assault Lily as main cast, which they actually did a little skit, by the way. Before the song, they powered up their weapons. That was pretty cool, but Sumagi also sings the opening of the anime with Reiza Seulin, who were also there that day and performed after Assault Lily. Odd choice, actually. You'd think they would do the opening before. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is some people get to perform twice, or more. Sora Amamiya had like 7 songs. A couple by herself, with Maya, with Toyama and Airi, and with her group Trisale. In fact, the day of her Trisale performance was actually her birthday, and the other 2 girls sang to her. Doing small skits are another somewhat common occurrence at this event as well. Aina Suzuki and Haruka do a whole thing where Haruka summons Aina as Joshin-chan before singing the opening of that show together. Then last year I did mention the Iris Maya crossover. Well, before they sang, they had Maya come running in being chased by samurai, while the Iris girls, Seriko in particular, try to protect her and fail miserably. That is until Mr. Ken Matsudara comes in to save the day, and then they all sing a banger song together, even having other performers come in towards the end of the song, giving us a midway finale to that day's show. Which leads me to the next section. All I've been doing is talking about girls, but men exist and they are at this festival. Absolute legends like Grand Rodeo and Flo, those two actually even performing together sometimes. There's also Takanori Nishikawa, aka TM Revolution, you know the Soul Eater opening. Or even Masayuki Suzuki, he's been there a few times, singing both of the Kaguya-sama openings. They perform alone or with other iconic singers like Maki Oguro, Sphere, or Asuka. Speaking of legendary, when it comes to anime, they perform all genres and anime from throughout the years. Keeping with the 2021 show again, Eternal Wind from Gundam F91, and Soul's Refrain from the Evangelion movie, that last one being sang by the original singer, Yoko Takahashi. Another thing to mention is that we get some special one-time guests, usually not as popular seiyuu, but from super popular shows. Like the 4 cuties from the Umaro anime, show by Rock has appeared there a few times. I guess with that last one, Sakura and Sumari are super popular, but Sakura's only been there that one time. We've even had Fauna, who sang the Dragon Maid opening, actually having that cast come on stage in full costume and sing with them. And don't even get me started on the Dragon Maid 2019 performance, where literally everyone who sang that day prior to Fauna came on stage again. In fact, almost every year there's always an epic performance where all of the singers prior to whoever is singing comes back on stage to help with whatever song is being sang. I just mentioned the Dragon Maid opening in 2019, there's also the Iris Maya Ken performance from 2022, but also in 2021, the ending of Day 2, everyone came on to help Angela sing the Otome game opening. This was even the big finale, and the boys had a little competition to see who could hold the high note the longest. So TLDR, this is a great festival to celebrate anime and music in general. If you're a fan of any seiyuu or music group, there is a strong chance that they have made an appearance at least once. Most likely multiple times, and they've probably even done a really cool crossover. And finally, the festival always ends with every performer of that day on stage together singing the theme song of the festival from that year. Every year having a different original theme and even releasing a music video for that theme a few months prior. And all of them feature performers from that year's event, except for 2019. For some reason they didn't do it that year. I mean, like, there is a music video for that year, but it only features one person, and I'm pretty sure she's not even a performer. Anyway, big shoutouts to 2018, 21, and 22 for having amazing theme songs. This year's is also really good, more of a rock feel, where most of the others have been very pop inspired. So now that you know all about the festivals, let me tell you about some usual suspects, mostly for Anisama. Those being Sumire Uesaka, Yui Ogura, Naotoyama, Miku Ito, and Inori Minase, just to name a few. Actually, earlier I mentioned Haruki performing on all 3 days. Well, Ayaka Ohashi, who is also a usual at both shows, performed all 3 days of Anisama in 2019. An absolute legend. Love Live has been at Anisama every year since like 2012, though 2019 was the only time we ever had 2 groups in the same year. But the girls of the franchise are there a lot, usually Nanjo or Momori from Muse. Though every member aside from Shika and Kusun have been there once or twice, usually around the 2015-2016 era. Aqua had Ida and Shuka one time each, and Aina is becoming a usual suspect there, being there 3 years in a row now. Really surprised Kyon or Footy have never been there with their solo stuff. Kaneko was at Animax though in 2021 for both of their events. And with Niji at Anisama, it's only been Aguri and Akari once each. Akari has also been at Animax though, only one time. However, Miyu and Moika have been at both festivals with their other groups. Moipi though actually has her duo unit Haromoe making their debut at the fest this year. Then Liella is making their debut this year as well, along with Liu as a solo act. Congrats to her. If you're only a Bushiroad fan, well, they're all over these, mostly Anisama of course. The Bandori Big 3, Puppy Pau, Roselia, and Ras have been there 3 or more times each. Both versions of Roselia have actually been at Anisama, having the original group back in 2017. While Morphonica had half their band cameo with Ras last year, but the whole band, along with My Go, will be there this year. D4DJ had 5 of their 6 main units over the last 2 festivals, and Lyrical Lily will debut there this year. Then of course Starlight Kukugumi every year since their debut, except for 2022. And there's Iris, the group I just keep talking about. I'm sorry I can't help it, I absolutely love them. And I've talked about them a lot because, well, they're just always here. They are basically the unofficial mascots of Anisama, being there every year since 2013 and always having the best spots. Then if I were to choose a mascot for Animax, it's Yoshino Nanjo, being there every year since 2013 aside from 2020. And that's performing by herself and with her duo Fripside. Basically every time having many songs each event. And with that, I'd say we have reached the ending. Even if you're only a fan of 10% of the performers, I'd still recommend watching. The energy is always amazing, the variety of anime openings and guests honestly blows my mind every time. And these festivals have helped me discover so many new singers that I otherwise would have never listened to. I really could just sit here and list off performers all day, but I think I got my point across. In the future, I'll definitely do a video of my favorite performances and little records that I've noticed. Like which seiyuu or groups have been there the most or had the most performances. I guess another thing to mention is the fact that you get to see professionals admiring other professionals. And you can see how much a certain person is a fan of another person or an entire group. You'll always see people fangirling over each other, and I absolutely love it. The only downside is that they're kind of hard to access. They can usually be found on a certain Chinese website, but some years may not be there or they might just get deleted over time. But here on YouTube you can find a lot of Anisama Digest movies and the yearly music videos. I'll have a bunch of stuff linked down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed and learned something new. Maybe consider subscribing. I hate asking, I really do, but I need that count to go up. Also, I hope you'll join me in the next one about a very beautiful, very successful seiyuu who actually has the same birthday as me. As always, I look forward to seeing you there.